Is too much protein bad for you? Is it actually better to have a little bit less protein? So how about your health? Is too much or too little optimal for health? How about building muscle? That's all we're gonna cover in today's video. But before we do, click the subscribe button below, because on this channel, you're gonna learn how to build an awesome looking, high performing, strong and healthy body that goes along with your business success. What's up everybody, this is Coach Amir from 7figurebody.com, and in today's video, I'm gonna answer one of the most common questions I get, which is too much protein bad for you? As you guys probably know, there are different, diet and zealot groups that believe some of the macronutrients are bad. So for example, keto and carnivore zealots think that carbs are bad, vegans think that fats are bad, but pretty much, aside from actually vegans partially, most groups do not think that protein is bad for you. Only somebody who is completely clueless about human physiology or pretty much anything else could think that even, let's say, normal amounts of protein are bad for you. Why? Simply because if we look at the hierarchy of importance when it comes to the three macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs, we know that protein is by far the most important. And actually the word protein comes from protos, which is a Greek word for the most important, the primary one. So why is that so? Simply because the human body does not have a storage of protein anywhere. So the only quote unquote storage is actual muscle. So if you don't have enough protein, how is the body going to fulfill the protein needs on a daily basis if you're not eating enough? It's going to have to break down muscle, which is a terrible idea. So of course, the RDA, which you've probably heard, the daily recommended allowance is about 0.4 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Now, this is, of course, just like the rest of the RDA recommendations, they're absolutely obsolete and terribly low, especially for protein. This may be enough for you not to die. So 0.4 grams, of protein times per pound of body weight may be enough to not die, but obviously not dying or the absence of disease does not mean health. They're different things. Of course, especially if you want to actually build muscle and be, performing at a high level, have, high amounts of muscle, high energy, high testosterone levels, you need more protein. So how much do you need? Generally speaking, double that. So somewhere 0.7 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight is going to be probably optimal for most people, at least to start with. And then later on, as you are getting leaner and leaner, so let's say if you're a male and you are below 15% body fat and you're trying to get even lower, it may actually be better to have about a gram of protein per pound in that case. Same for women. If a woman is anywhere close to 25% body fat and she's trying to get leaner, then in that case, it's probably good for her as well to have about a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, one other question that is actually very common is, is these 30 grams of protein per meal, as much as the human body can digest and properly use, which you may have heard this, 30 grams per meal, don't eat more, because if you eat more, it just goes to waste. By the way, that is a complete myth. It is not true. Your body can absolutely digest way more protein than that. And by the way, some of the studies have shown that if you eat 80% of your daily protein requirement in one meal, compared to same amount spread out over 4 meals, there's absolutely no difference in protein turnover, breakdown, or protein synthesis. So really, it does not matter. You can feel free to eat more than that. And actually, any male that is bigger than, let's say, 200 pounds is probably done this before, where you can easily eat 8 ounces of chicken or some meat or fish, and that's about 50 grams of protein. Is that too much? No, it's not. I mean, if your appetite allows for or asks for eating that much, by all means eat it. So just so you know, if you eat more than 30 grams of protein in one meal, which almost every male should, then just know that you're safe. You're absolutely not going to waste, whatever of it. And then one final thing that always comes up when protein is in question, and that is actually protein or eating a high protein diet bad for your kidneys? Yes, it gives a little bit more, let's say strain and a bit more stress on kidneys if you have a little bit higher protein intake, but this has been studied to hell and back, like million studies so far have proven that even extremely high protein intakes, I'm talking in one study, 400 grams of protein per day. Like, who's gonna ever in normal circumstances eat 400 grams of protein per day. Even then, they actually did the study looking for, is this huge amount of protein actually going to cause some kind of health consequences? Is it going to negatively affect anything? Not only that it didn't, so everything was fine, but they actually completely unplanned. That was not the point of the study. They lost a bunch of body weight and got leaner. Why? Simply because protein is so important because number one, it actually builds muscle, of course. Number two, it actually keeps you satiated. So your appetite and hunger are, reduced, and therefore it's much easier to eat less. And then three, it actually controls your blood sugar levels. You don't have these spikes and and then crashes. So it's actually keeping it mostly as much as possible in a constant level. So these are the three awesome reasons why you should have protein. And just so you know, the one exception, so who and when should be eating more than 1 gram of protein per pound? If you are a very, very lean individual, let's say you are 10% body fat as a man and you're trying to get leaner, or 20% body fat as a woman and you're trying to get leaner, and you are exercising really intensely or a lot, or you're doing all of that plus you have a lot of stress in your life, whether it be psychological stress or any other stress, in that, those kind of extreme circumstances, all of these things are kind of not really normal, usual. People normally don't get to, single digit body fat percent. It actually takes a lot of work and time to get there. Same for women, to be in high teens. Body fat percent is extremely hard. It takes a lot of time and effort. But if, let's say you want to do that, by all means, then you actually may benefit from a bit more protein, maybe 1.2, maybe even 1.3 grams of protein per pound of body fat. But please remember, for 99.9999% of people in the world, especially entrepreneurs, even though we have a really high stress, life, because that's kind of how we are used to living, you will not need, and it's going to be completely, useless to actually eat more than 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, eat up to 200 grams of protein. And this is, again, if you are on the leaner side. If you are a male over 20% body fat, you don't need to eat more than 0.8 grams of protein per pound. It's going to be more than enough. So that's pretty much all the protein, everything you need to know about the protein intake. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, follow-up questions on this, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to see what you think of this and if you find this useful. Also, if you haven't already, click that like button and the notification bell so you can get the notification every time we come up with new videos, which is going to help you to actually burn all the body fat you want and get in the best shape ever. And final last thing, if you haven't already subscribed, click that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time.